So because our quiz for this week is going to look a lot like exercise 16B, I want to review this exercise to prepare you for the quiz that's due Sunday night. So basically there's 4 categories of commas that you'll be tested on in the quiz. And the first category is the parenthetical expressions, the positives, and the restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. The second is what I just call like introductory phrases. So the things that are at the beginning of the sentence that you would put commas after. List and series, and addresses. So as I read through the paragraph, I'm going to explain to you the reasons why we would add commas where they are. So the Getty is really 2 museums, the Getty Center and the Getty Villa. So you put a comma after museums because right here we have a positive that's kind of just providing more information about the 2 museums. It is named after industrialist J.P. Getty, who founded both Getty Oil and Fortune magazine and who was a passionate art collector. So we put a comma right here after Getty because these are 2 non-restrictive clauses, meaning they're just adding extra information about Paul Getty. We don't really need these clauses to understand who Paul Getty is. So a lot of times if you have one of these clause words like who, which, where, and it comes after a specific person's name or title of a book or a movie, you're going to need the comma there because a lot of times these are restrictive clauses. So the Getty Center is a beautiful architectural entity that is located in the hills of an exclusive part of Los Angeles. So if you just have the city, you don't need to put any commas with it. It's fine. You can write them for information at 1200 Getty Center Drive, Los Angeles, California, 90049. So when you have an address, you always put a comma after the street and after the city. Okay, there is no comma between the state and the zip code. So basically, just always think that cities are isolated in. You put a comma between the street and the city and state, so the city's kind of isolated here with the commas are set out. The Getty Center's astonishingly beautiful site exhibits a rich collection of Western art from the Middle Ages to the present. To get to the museum, we have a comma there because this is an introductory phrase. A lot of times if you see prepositional phrases at the beginning of a sentence, you put commas after. You park your car and then take a tram that circles around the hillside up to the breathtaking Getty Center site, which offers a beautiful patio restaurant and exquisite gardens in addition to its art objects. So we have a comma here after site because we have another non-restrictive clause. I could take this whole clause out of the sentence and the sentence would still read fine. This is just adding extra information. The other museum, the Getty Villa, also takes your breath away. So here we have a positive that's kind of clarifying the museum and just restating information. It is located in Malibu, California, right? So whenever we have a city and a state mentioned like this, we always set off the state. So there's a comma between the city and state and after the state. A lot of times students forget this second comma after the state, but it is needed. At 17985 Pacific Coast Highway, Pacific Palisades, California, 90272. So again, we have another address where we need a comma between the street and the city, and between the city and the state. The Getty Villa, which looks like a Roman villa, fits its artistic collection. So again, this is another non-restrictive clause. It's just adding additional information about the Getty Villa. It's not necessarily restricting it down. So notice how this is a proper name, the Getty Villa. It's the name of a place. A lot of times when you have these proper names, you have non-restrictive clauses after the proper name. It is an educational center museum dedicated to the study of the arts and cultures of ancient Greece, Rome, and Etruria. So whenever we have a list, we always need commas between at least the first 2 items in the list. The comma before the and is optional. I usually like to put it there because it just helps to clarify, but either way is correct. The Getty Villa offers educational spotlight talks, for example. All right, so remember, whenever we have a semicolon, we have one of these conjunctive adverbs, we always need a comma after it. And these are also thought of as like introductory elements. They're words and phrases that start off the sentence. On Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So again, we have another list where we need commas separating the items in the list. On Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, you can hear 20-minute gallery talks that introduce ways of looking at ancient art through a focused exploration of one object in the collection. All right, so this is a quick review of all the sentences. If you have any questions about the quiz or about maybe why a comma wasn't added in a certain place or why a comma was added, feel free to reach out and